You might already be starting to plan ahead for what you are going to do to keep your little ones busy this winter when you're stuck inside. Whether it's raining or it's snowing, or maybe it's just a really, really hot day, either way, I am going to be sharing 10 of my favorite indoor gross motor games that you can do with your little ones on those days where you need to get all of their wiggles out indoors. Hey there, Mama. I'm Lauren Brainerd, and this is Teach Your Littles at Home. I'm so excited you have tuned in as I share fun and hands-on activities you can use right away to help you play and learn with your little ones. So let's dive right into today's episode so you can make more memories than you ever dreamed of. When I sit down to plan activities for my own little ones, one of the very first things that I think about is what are the activities we are going to do today to make sure I get all of my kids' energy out before nap time. There is nothing worse than coming up to nap time and realizing we have stayed inside all day, we've been sitting, and we haven't done anything to get their energy out, and they're just not tired enough to go down for a nap yet. If you have little ones, we've all been there. On a normal day, this might mean a trip to the park, riding a tricycle outside, playing with chalk in the backyard, or going for a walk. But what do you do when it's raining? How are you going to get your kids' energy out when you can't go outside? So today, we are going to be talking about 10 of my favorite gross motor games and activities that I like to do with my own little ones when we can't go outside. Now, if you're not familiar with what a gross motor skill is, these are the physical movements that we make with our bodies, like running, jumping, or throwing a ball. If you want to learn more specifically about what gross motor skills are, I talk about this in a bit more detail in episode 5, where I've covered the 6 skill areas to teach your toddlers and preschoolers. So have a listen to episode 5 if you're unclear on what gross motor skills are, and then come back and grab these activities. So I remember years ago when I was first putting together our Cars toddler theme, I came up with the idea to do a life-size stoplight on the floor. This game was such a hit with my son. He played it for so long and it was so much fun. What I did is I cut out a big piece of black construction paper and I taped it to the floor. And then I added red, yellow, and green large circles on top to mimic what a stoplight looks like. What I would do is call out the name of a stoplight color, and my son would grab a really small beanbag. You can either purchase small beanbags or you can even just put beans inside of a Ziploc bag and create your own. Then what you'll do is call out these stoplight colors and have your kids try and toss the bag onto the correct circle. I'll never forget the day we did this. My son had a big warm vest on. It was raining outside. It was the perfect day to find something to do inside to get his little body moving. So he was throwing the beanbags, working on his throwing skills, and he was trying to toss into a precise location. We also solidified those 3 colors, red, green, and yellow, as he threw those beanbags over and over. And it was great because the bags, he wouldn't make it every time. And so the bags were kind of all over our kitchen floor. And my son was just running back and forth because every time he missed, he would have to go run back, get his beanbags, and then we would try again. So it was a great way to get his little body moving from the indoors without creating a mess, without doing something unsafe like jumping off the couch or running all over the house. And it was a great structured learning activity that we both really enjoyed and had a lot of fun with, and accomplished our goal of getting our wiggles out. The second gross motor activity I always like to have on hand are action cards. So what I'll do is come up with a theme. So for example, you could do an animal action card, and you'll print out little animal cards, or you could draw the animals or use stickers. And then on each card, you'll write a caption of the action your child needs to do. So for example, if you're doing an animal action card, you could put a picture of a cheetah and then say, run like a cheetah. You could do another card with a fish and say, swim like a fish. You could do a bunny rabbit and say, hop like a bunny. Think about the animals that your child really likes and include those in the activity, because the more that we can tap into the interest of our child, the more engaged they tend to be in the activity. So prep these action cards now, keep them in a Ziploc bag, and then you can just pull them out on a rainy day, throw them in a hat, and have your child pull one card at a time. And each time they pull the card, they will do the action right there in your living room. Do it over and over again until your child burns off some of that energy and gets their wiggles out. The third activity I'm sharing is a maze. Now, we do lots of chalk mazes outside, but this is just kind of a fun twist on a way to do a maze indoors. So what you will need is just one giant spool of yarn. And what you're going to do is find one of the side points of your home, tape it down to the floor in that one location. Then you're just going to go through the entire area and just unspool this yarn. So you can go into the kitchen, around the dining room table, go into the living room, anywhere you want to go. Just make a big path the maze can cross each other and drape this yarn throughout your home. Then you're going to want to place some animal picture cards along the path. Or if you have like really small little animals, you could even do little cars, whatever you think would get your child excited. And you're going to tell your child that they need to walk the tightrope through your home because the floor is lava. And the only way to save the animals is to walk on your tippy toes all through the house on that tightrope, bend down carefully, grab each animal or car or whatever you decide to use, and put it in a little bag and have them keep going all throughout the house until they have rescued all of the toys or cards from the floor. Now, what I have found is really fun is when they finish to have them go back and replace all the items along the path so that now it's mom's turn to go through the house. It's just another way to get them moving and more involved in the game. Now, this leads us into activity 4, which is our indoor scavenger hunt. And this game is near and dear to my heart because I used to play this game with my mom when I was growing up. So what she would do is she would place strips of numbered clues all around the house. And she would point us, because I usually played with my sister. So we would go to the first clue and we would read it. And it would say something like, go somewhere in the house that keeps the food cold. So we would have to think about, okay, what is the location in the house that keeps food cold? And then you would think refrigerator. You would quickly go to the refrigerator, find the clue on a magnet on the fridge that said number 2, and it would give you the next clue. And we would just keep going through the house until we found all the clues. And the fun part was there was always some sort of little trinket prize at the end, or maybe a sticker sheet as the prize for finishing the scavenger hunt. This is a great activity to get your kids to learn the names of each room if they don't know, to learn the names of all the appliances in your home. If your kids are on the older side, you can come up with much trickier clues that they're going to have to follow. But if they ever find a clue, they'll know if it's the correct or incorrect location based on that numbering system. So make sure every clue is number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. Number 5, kids yoga. Now, this saved me when we were home those first few weeks during the pandemic because we didn't leave the house. So all you're going to need to do for this is go online, search YouTube for kids yoga, and you will find a whole range of options. I love the kids yoga because it's usually to popular children's music. The characters wear some sort of costume that goes with the theme. It's very engaging, and it's just a nice change of pace from something that I need to create where I can actually put this on and entertain my kids for 20 minutes while I go set up, let's say, the scavenger hunt while they're doing yoga. And next thing I know, it's been 45 minutes of our day that they have been moving, and we're well on our way to getting our wiggles out before nap time. Number 6, this is probably every child's favorite gross motor activity. But for activity 6, you are going to build a fort. Now, this is not only going to get your kids moving, but it will work on strength. It'll work on them using control with their hands, their whole body, and it will even engage their critical thinking skills. So what I like to do when we build a fort is I always set out a stack of materials, blankets, sheets, clothespins, pillows, anything you have on hand that could be used to build a fort. Then I have my kids look around the room for items they could use to build a structure. Think chairs, couches, the cushions on the couch. I have my kids direct. They are the builders and I'm just the assistant. I'm there to keep them safe. I'm there to facilitate, but I am not there to guide and direct and tell them exactly what to do. Part of the fun of building a fort is having to figure it out yourself and use your brain and learn how to do this. If it doesn't work the first time, encourage them to try again. If the blanket fell off the chair, how could we move it in a way that it won't fall the next time? So ask these types of leading questions as you go, but allow your children the opportunity to build this fort on their own and just assist when necessary. Number 7, indoor bowling. This one is super fun. So what you're going to need for this is a minimum of about 10 empty water bottles, just the smaller water bottles. And you're also going to need a softball. And by softball, I don't mean like in the game of softball, but an actual squishy soft ball that isn't going to break anything. And what you're going to do is just set out those water bottles in the shape of a triangle. Give your child the soft, squishy ball and have them roll it into those water bottles to knock as many down at once as they can. You can keep score. You can go for 9 rounds. You can work on spares. You can work on strikes. Really get into it. Anytime the water bottle pins need to be set back up, your bowling pins, have your kids run back and do it themselves. The more they're moving, the better. Activity 8 is sock basketball. Now, we love playing basketball outside. My husband grew up playing basketball. Our oldest son plays basketball. But if the garage is not an option and we can't get outside, then a great alternative is to play sock basketball. So first, you're going to need to go through your house and find a few empty bins or baskets. Plastic tubs or laundry baskets work really well for this. Then you're going to roll up some socks into balls and have your kids toss the socks into the baskets like you're playing basketball. You can set them at various distances. You can put out targets they have to hit, or you could even, if you have one giant room, put a basket on each side of the room and try to have an actual basketball game, throwing it back and forth and see who can make the most baskets. Freeze dance is always a fun gross motor game. Super easy, no prep, nothing needed for this. All you're going to do is turn on music and have your kids have a giant dance party in the living room. But anytime the music stops, they freeze. The best part is when they get into some really silly positions and you keep the music paused a few extra seconds to allow their bodies to work on balance and control before the music starts again. Keep playing for several rounds. It's a lot of fun. And with that, I have saved the best activity for last. This is by far my favorite gross motor activity that we can do indoors on a rainy day, and that is balloon volleyball. So what you're going to do is set out 2 chairs in the middle of a room. Stretch a blanket between the 2 chairs to create a net. Then you and your child are going to stand on opposite sides of the net, just like in a typical volleyball game, and toss the balloon back and forth without letting it touch the ground. Make sure to have a few extra balloons on hand because sometimes when we get really excited and we're serving that balloon, they can pop. So just make sure that you come prepared with a couple extra balloons you could blow up in the event that anything happens to your balloon. I hope these 10 activities have given you some great ideas that you can use as we're headed into indoor season. But just remember, we can still have fun outdoors on a rainy or snowy day, but in a different way. Go out with an umbrella, splash in the puddles, throw a few snowballs, but have these little basket of tricks up your sleeve for when you can't go outside, or maybe you just don't have the energy today to do it. Be ready to grab one of these indoor gross motor games at any time. Let's try to be extremely positive this year and find ways to make playing and learning fun right from the comfort of home. I would love to hear what games you play this season, so please make sure to pop into our Teach Your Littles at Home Facebook group and share. If you're looking for even more activities that you can do indoors as we head into the season, you can grab one of our toddler or preschool units to keep your little ones busy all winter using the link in our show notes. Have a great day playing and learning with your little ones at home. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Teach Your Littles at Home. I hope you are feeling so inspired to create a new activity to do right away with your little ones.
If you like listening to my mommy, will you please leave her a review?
Before you head off to plan the next activity, would you mind leaving me a quick review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening from? This is the only way for me to know if you're finding my tips, activities, and advice helpful, and I get so excited reading each and every review. I hope this episode has left you feeling empowered to try something new with your kids this week. And if so, would you please hit the share button and share this episode with another one of your mama friends who also wants to create activities with her little ones. I can't wait to share even more fun activities with you on our next episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day playing and making memories with your little ones.